Ever feel like social media is a bit of a jungle?
Okay.
We're diving deep into that today.
Okay.
We're going on a safari, but not the kind with lions and tigers.
Right.
More like the different personalities you see online.
Yeah, all those different profiles.
It can feel like a zoo sometimes, right?
It really can be.
But have you ever wondered why people act the way they do on these platforms?
You know, that's a question that
Yeah.
Marynês Pereira addresses
Oh, interesting.
in her article, O Zoológico das Redes Sociais, Desvendando os Perfis que te seguem.
I'm going to butcher that name.
That's Marynês Pereira.
Thank you.
She's a specialist in neuroscience and human behavior.
Wow.
And she uses this really cool zoo analogy to help us understand all the different types of people we see on social media.
I love that.
These species, so to speak.
So instead of just scrolling mindlessly, we're going to really analyze, break down those behaviors and motivations.
Understand what makes these digital creatures tick.
I love it. So what kind of species are we going to encounter today?
Well, Pereira outlines quite a few distinct profiles.
Oh, wow.
But remember, this isn't about putting people in boxes or labeling them.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the forces behind their actions.
Right.
The anxieties, the motivations, even the neuroscience.
That's so interesting. I'm hooked already. So who are some of these fascinating creatures?
Okay, well, first we have the shy one.
Oh.
Think of them like the wallflowers of the digital world.
Okay.
They're observing.
Lurking.
Yeah, but they rarely participate.
Like that one friend who's always online.
Exactly. But never posts.
You might see them liking a post here and there.
Right.
But never really sharing anything themselves.
I definitely know a few shy ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wonder what's going through their minds.
Yeah.
Are they just private, or are they afraid of being judged?
You know, Pereira suggests it could be a bit of both.
Okay.
Some people are naturally introverted.
And prefer to observe from the sidelines.
Yeah.
And then others might have had negative experiences online that make them hesitant to share.
That makes sense. Social media can be a pretty harsh place sometimes.
It can be.
It's easy to feel judged.
Especially with all the perfectly curated lives we see on Instagram or TikTok.
Totally.
And that fear of judgment can be really paralyzing for some people.
Right.
And lead them to adopt this shy one persona.
It's interesting because in a way, it's almost like a self-preservation thing, right?
It is. And you know what's fascinating is that neuroscience shows us that social rejection actually activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain.
Wow.
So for some people, putting themselves out there online can feel incredibly risky.
So it's not just about recognizing that they're quiet. It's about understanding their experience and having empathy.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, you know, it might even encourage you to reach out and engage with those quieter voices in your own network.
Yeah.
You never know what interesting perspectives they might have to offer.
That's such a good point. I'm going to try to do that more.
You should.
Next up on our safari, I think we have the spy.
Oh, the spy.
Have we all encountered a spy at some point?
Oh, I think we have.
That person who suddenly starts posting about your niche?
Right.
Using your language?
Yes.
Like they've been watching your every move?
It's not just about mimicking content, though.
Okay.
The spy is constantly monitoring their competition.
Oh, wow.
Always trying to stay one step ahead.
So it's all about that pressure to succeed in the digital age. And sometimes that can lead to taking shortcuts, right?
Definitely.
Like copying others instead of developing your own unique approach.
Pereira talks about how hard it is to develop our own unique strategies and voices in this environment.
Yeah.
It's so tempting to just replicate what we see working for others.
Totally.
But ultimately, authenticity is crucial online.
I love that. And knowing about this spy profile can actually help you protect your own ideas.
Definitely.
And be more aware of potential copycats.
Be savvy in the digital world.
Okay. Moving on, we've got the envious one.
Well, the envious one.
This is the creature that thrives on negativity.
Yes.
They might not engage directly, but their presence is felt.
Through their lack of approval.
Yeah, sometimes even resorting to harsh criticism.
Absolutely.
So this profile takes us deep into the psychology of envy.
It does.
And how it plays out online.
How it manifests in the digital world.
And honestly, social media is a breeding ground for comparison.
It is.
We're bombarded with these carefully curated versions of people's lives.
The highlight reel.
Which can fuel those feelings of envy.
Absolutely.
Have you ever felt that pang of envy when you see someone else's perfect vacation photos?
Oh, for sure.
Or their career achievements?
I think it's something we all struggle with to some extent.
I think so too.
You know what's interesting is that from a neuroscience perspective, Social comparison triggers activity in brain regions associated with pain.
Oh, wow.
So when you see someone being negative or critical online,
Yeah.
consider that they might be struggling with their own insecurities.
That's such a good point.
It might be more about them than it is about you.
Okay, that's a really powerful insight.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us to approach these interactions with empathy
Yeah,
instead of getting defensive.
exactly.
I'm ready for our next encounter. Who's next?
Let's talk about the show-offs.
Okay.
They're always vying for the spotlight.
Okay.
They use social media as a stage for self-promotion,
Right.
often exaggerating their accomplishments or experiences.
I think we all have that one friend
Mm-hmm.
who's constantly posting selfies,
Yeah.
bragging about their latest achievements,
Mm-hmm.
sharing stories that seem a little too good to be true.
That's the show-off and their natural habitat.
Totally.
They're driven by a deep need for validation.
Oh,
They're
yes.
seeking external approval and reinforcement,
Right.
often at the expense of authenticity.
It's like they're trying to project this image of perfection,
Yes.
even if it's far from reality.
And this ties back to that idea of curated lives we were discussing earlier, that pressure to present a flawless online persona can be immense.
Totally. And it can lead to this show-off behavior.
Exactly.
But as Pereira reminds us, genuine connections and authenticity are far more valuable
That's much more valuable.
in these superficial displays of success.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm ready for our next encounter. Who else is lurking out there?
Now brace yourself,
Uh-oh.
because we're about to run into the angry one.
Oh, no.
You know, the person who seems to live for online arguments?
Yeah, the person who always brings up politics at Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
The angry one thrives on conflict.
Okay.
They're quick to engage in arguments,
Right.
often fueled by strong ideological or political beliefs.
Makes sense.
And it can be really tough to have a reasonable conversation with them.
Yeah, it's like they're seeking out opportunities to be outraged.
Pereira suggests that this behavior might stem from a discomfort with differing viewpoints and a struggle to embrace diversity of opinion.
So it's like they feel threatened by anything
Yes.
that challenges their worldview.
And this ties into a larger issue we're seeing online,
Yeah.
the polarization of viewpoints, the erosion of civil discourse.
It's becoming so hard to have healthy, respectful debates
It is.
on social media.
It's really unfortunate because it shuts down any possibility for productive dialogue
Yeah.
and understand.
What's the point of engaging if you're just going to end up in a shouting match?
Exactly.
So how can we even approach a conversation with an angry one
Right.
without getting sucked into their negativity?
Well, first remember that it's okay to disengage.
Okay.
You don't have to respond to every provocation.
Right.
And if you do choose to engage,
Yeah.
try to do so with empathy and a genuine desire to understand their perspective.
Okay.
Avoid getting defensive or attacking their character.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the best response is no response at all.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Who else is on our list of these social media species?
Okay, let's talk about the interested one.
Oh, interesting.
This is the person who only seems to emerge from the shadows when they need something.
Oh, like that person who suddenly starts liking all your posts
Exactly.
after months of silence
Mhm.
and then slides into your DMs with a favor to ask.
That's the interested one.
Wow.
All about strategic engagement.
So it's all very calculated.
It can be.
Interesting.
They might throw out a few likes or comments,
Right?
but it's usually a precursor to asking for something.
Oh, wow. So you have to be wary.
It's that classic, hey, haven't talked to you in ages, but
Oh, yeah.
scenario.
I know exactly what you mean.
It highlights this transactional approach to online relationships,
Okay.
which can feel disingenuous and manipulative.
Yeah, for sure.
Pereira really emphasizes the importance of building genuine connections
Yeah.
based on mutual respect and support.
Not just on what you can get out of someone.
Exactly. Authenticity is key.
Okay.
People can sense when someone is being insincere or only engaging out of self-interest.
But how can we tell the difference between someone who's genuinely interested in connecting
Yeah.
versus someone who's just trying to use us?
Pay attention to their patterns of behavior.
Okay.
Do they only reach out when they need something?
Right.
Are their interactions superficial or one-sided?
That's a really good point.
Trust your gut instinct.
Okay.
If a connection feels off, it probably is.
Good advice. And it's a reminder that it's okay to be discerning
Absolutely.
about who we let into our online circles.
Mhm.
Now, I'm hoping our next encounter is with someone a little more positive.
Okay.
Who else is on our safari list?
Let's talk about the philosopher.
Ooh,
I like this already.
this is a breath of fresh air.
Okay.
In the often chaotic world of social media,
Yeah.
they value intellectual discourse.
Okay.
And they strive to elevate the conversation.
Think of that friend who always posts thought-provoking articles.
Exactly.
Or it's discussions about ethics and current events.
That's the philosopher in action.
They bring insightful contributions and thoughtful engagement to the digital table.
I love encountering philosophers on social media. They make me feel like I'm actually learning something.
Yes.
And expanding my horizons.
They demonstrate that it's possible to engage in meaningful and respectful conversations.
Yeah.
Even on platforms that are often dominated by negativity and superficiality.
It gives me hope.
Right. Their presence reminds us of the potential for social media to be a force for good.
Absolutely. And their example can inspire us to be more thoughtful and intentional in our own online interactions.
Definitely.
Okay, so amidst all these diverse creatures, we have the normal user.
Yes, the most common species you'll encounter.
Okay.
They engage authentically.
Right.
Liking, commenting, sharing content that resonates with them. And they contribute to the online community in a positive and reciprocal way.
This is who we should all strive to be.
Yeah, Pereira positions them as the ideal social media user.
Makes sense.
Someone who adds value to the online experience.
Yeah.
For both themselves and others.
So they embody the true spirit of social connection.
They do.
Using the platform to build relationships, share experiences, and engage in meaningful interactions.
Exactly.
Okay, so now that we've met all these fascinating creatures, from the shy one all the way to the normal user,
right.
Let's take a deeper dive into Pereira's own personal insights on navigating this digital zoo.
Okay.
How has understanding these profiles changed the way she interacts online?
You know, that's a great question, Anne. It's all about how recognizing these different profiles has really helped her build more authentic connections, both personally and professionally.
Okay, because that's what we all want, right?
Definitely.
Genuine connections in this world that often feels so superficial.
It really does.
But how does knowing about the spy or the envious one actually help with that?
It all comes down to empathy and awareness.
Okay.
Instead of judging people based on their online behavior, we can start to understand the why behind their actions.
So it's not about putting people into boxes. It's about recognizing that everyone brings their own baggage to the online world.
Their insecurities.
Right.
Their anxieties, their need for validation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that awareness can totally transform the way we interact with others.
I love that. So give me an example.
Okay, imagine you get a snarky comment from someone who seems like a classic envious one.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of getting defensive or firing back, you can pause and think, hey, maybe this person is struggling with their own self-worth. Maybe they're projecting their insecurities onto me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It takes the sting out of those negative interactions.
It really does.
And allows us to respond with compassion.
Instead of anger.
Exactly. And it can even open up a space for genuine connection.
Oh, wow.
Maybe instead of arguing back, you reach out with a kind word or a compliment.
Right.
You never know, that small act of empathy could make a big difference in someone's day.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's about shifting our mindset from judgment to understanding.
Okay, so how about the other profiles? How does knowing about, say, the show-off actually help us build better relationships?
Well, recognizing the show-off allows us to see through their facade.
Okay.
And understand that deeper need for validation.
Right.
Maybe instead of feeling annoyed by their constant bragging, you can offer genuine encouragement or acknowledge their efforts.
That's a good point.
This can help them feel seen and appreciated.
Yeah.
And it might even nudge them towards more authentic self-expression.
It's like we're learning to speak a whole new language.
It is.
The language of social media personalities.
Yes, and once we understand this language, we can navigate those tricky online interactions with more grace and confidence.
And this applies to professional settings as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's say you're working with someone who exhibits those spy tendencies.
Okay.
Instead of getting frustrated by their constant monitoring, you can try to be more transparent with your process.
Right.
And share credit where credit is due.
This can help build trust and alleviate their anxiety.
Or if you're managing a team member who often displays angry one behavior, you can create a more open and inclusive communication environment where they feel safe expressing their concerns without resorting to aggression.
It's all about tailoring your approach based on the individual and their specific needs.
Pereira also emphasizes that this knowledge can help us protect ourselves from those who might take advantage of us online.
Yeah.
Recognizing the interested one allows us to set boundaries and avoid getting sucked into their transactional approach to relationships.
Absolutely. We can choose to invest our energy in connections that feel genuine and mutually beneficial.
This is all so insightful.
It is.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for the social media world. We can finally understand the motivations behind those baffling behaviors.
Yeah. And use that knowledge to create a more positive and authentic online experience.
So are you ready to put this knowledge into action?
I am, are you?
I think so. Are you ready to take a closer look at your own social media behavior?
This is where the real journey begins. It's time to turn the lens inward and ask ourselves, which of these social media species do I identify with most?
And even more importantly, how can we use this awareness to improve our own online interactions?
Yes, are we contributing to a positive and supportive online community?
Right.
Or are we unintentionally perpetuating negativity and drama?
These are important questions for all of us to consider.
They are.
As we navigate this ever-evolving digital landscape.
Exactly.
So let's take a moment to reflect on our own online personas. Are there any patterns we recognize?
Any tendencies we'd like to change?
And how can we leverage this newfound awareness to create a more positive and meaningful online experience for ourselves and others?
Great questions to ponder. All right, we're back. Back from our social media safari.
We've seen all sorts of creatures out there.
Yeah, from the shy to the show-off.
So much to unpack.
Understanding these different personalities can really change how we see things online.
Totally. But before we leave the zoo and head back to our digital lives, there's one thing I want to emphasize.
Okay.
This isn't about judging people.
All right.
Or putting them into these strict categories.
It's about understanding
that
every person who uses social media brings their own story,
their own baggage,
their experiences, their vulnerabilities.
We're all looking for connection validation.
Yeah, sense of belonging.
And social media offers that, but it also comes with its own set of challenges.
Definitely.
Sometimes those challenges lead to behaviors that can be confusing or frustrating, even hurtful.
Yeah, for sure.
But with this new understanding of social media species, we can approach those tricky situations with more empathy
and grace.
Instead of just reacting impulsively, we can pause, take a breath.
Consider the motivations behind the behavior.
Maybe that smirky comment isn't about us. But about their own insecurity.
Maybe that bragging is a cry for attention.
Exactly.
From someone who feels unseen.
By recognizing those needs, we can choose to respond with kindness, compassion.
A genuine desire to understand.
And by doing so, we can contribute to a more positive online community.
A space where everyone feels safe to express themselves authentically.
It's so easy to forget that behind every profile picture is a real person.
It is.
With real feelings.
Especially in the fast-paced world of social media.
Yeah, it can feel impersonal.
But when we take the time to see the human behind the screen, recognize their struggles, to celebrate their triumphs,
we create a richer experience for everyone.
So the next time you're scrolling through your feed,
and
you encounter the angry one about to pounce on a dissenting opinion,
or the interested one sliding into your DMs
with a thinly veiled request,
remember what we've learned on our social media safari.
Choose empathy over judgment.
Understanding over anger.
Choose to see the world through the eyes of others.
And remember, we all have the power to shape the online world.
We do by being mindful of our own behavior.
Setting healthy boundaries, engaging with authenticity and kindness.
We can create a digital space that reflects the best of humanity.
So that's it for our deep dive into the world of social media personalities.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights.
That will help you navigate this complex landscape.
With more confidence and compassion.
Remember, the journey doesn't end here.
It doesn't the next time you log on.
Observe the different species you encounter.
And consider their motivations.
How can you use this awareness to enhance your own online interactions?
Build stronger connections, contribute to a more positive digital experience.
Happy exploring, everyone.
Until next time.